Thank you. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very long presentation, but I'll try to be on the main topics of this presentation. Sorry, I was... Okay. Climate crisis corresponding meteorological changes due to the variable balance of planetary energy between incoming and outgoing radiation, the solar incident energy coming from the sun, there is a solar reflected energy, and also Earth emitted energy. Okay. Effects on climate crisis by non-ionizing radiation. Milankovitch proved change of climate and surface temperature by changing planetary radiation balance from over millennium periodic motion, and Gamov in 1949 says that there is a shift to north 0 kilometers per year of climatic condition in North Hemisphere. This is the part of infrared radiation of the surface and the atmosphere is absorbed by some atmospheric gases in the natural greenhouse. The greenhouse effect protects from the high temperature. Without the greenhouse, the average temperature would be minus 18 degrees Celsius. This is the also, yes, you can follow. Yes, one more, please. The increasing cause of water vapor is the troposphere that has been locally accessed 0.04 ppm parts per million per year, indicates the positive feedback continuous cycle of increase. This is a Colorado border. And this means temperature increase, evaporation, increased atmospheric water vapor, increased thermal absorption, atmospheric temperature, and additional increase in surface temperature. Next, please. And you know, the increased amount of water vapor does many catastrophic floods in the world, in the global environment. However, this disorganized atmospheric mechanism and degrades the typical seasonal rainfall, resulting in the increased possibility of local droughts and fires. Next, please. Effects, there are some expresses, some equation that effects of becoming ionizing can calculate. The incident ionizing radiation interacts primarily and secondarily with the Earth's atmosphere, just above the troposphere, stratosphere, and etc. Therefore, during flights, as an altitude between 10 and 25 kilometers, they have 30 to 80 times more average radiation compared to that of the surface. This is the diagram that can look better. Yes, please. This is the 11-year cycle of solar activity has been affected. Next. The number of sunspots. Next. In 90% of the scientific publication of the climate model, there are substantiated estimation that atmospheric anthropogenic loads on the radiation balance increase the surface temperature of 0. Degrees Celsius until 2000.9 in 2002. Next, please. Therefore, environmental principles and measures are required because any change in the radiation balance brings about local climate change that also affect reduction in the ozone layer, clean water, and biodiversity, but also in desertification. That is the directly or indirectly degrade human health. Looking at the human health, we're having all the effects, UV ultraviolet exposure, population displacement, moving people from Asia and Africa. And next, please. The principle of treatment of the climate crisis should be local meteorological and climate change, the sustainability principle, the populator pays principle, the precautionary principle, the equality principle, the equity principle, the human rights principle, and the participation principle. Next. And also there are some utilities, radiation protection principles, anthropogenic activities, justification principle, optimization principle, and limitation principle. And all the above leads to the important question: are the observed rapid changes in climate and surface temperature due? There is missing one more, which leads to the conclusion. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so
yes. The estimation of growth is growth temperature is 13 to 65 centimeters at sea level, and 3 to 6 degrees Celsius at average planetary temperature by the end of 21st century required urgent measures for immediate adaptation action to be expected local climate change. In view of change in temperature and climate, we must to prepare governments, municipalities and population for extreme weather events and natural disasters, for massive immigration of population from Africa and Asia, to make immediate improvement in the plans for treatment, for rainwater, networks, streams, etc., for iris and insect-borne disease, to adapt quickly for agricultural, livestock and fishing activities, for the natural and artificial air conditioning of buildings, for means of transport and water management saving. Yes, please. To identify activities to ensure backup electricity and water supply, food, medicine and fuel reserve, train staff and volunteers, to change building rules and to recommend impose the building of roads, elevated construction on the seashore or in riparian zones, and avoidance of building roads construction in places, landslides, lightnings, etc. Climate change is the environmental footprint of the effect on the planet's radiation balance, both for natural causes, periodicities of the Earth, Sun, galaxy, as well as man-made energy uses, management, industry, transport, heating, cooling of buildings, etc. From the IPCC recommendation, the cause of overheating can be slowed down, but it will be not reversed. Even the future will stop the evolution going to caves. Only one hope is that we will influence the local weather in order to regulate the local climate without side effects. But this remains science fiction. Okay, it means there are some three proposals to reduce temperature: space reflector, atmosphere aerosols, and some Alberto modification means to a specific packaging for the agricultural products, and reflectors for urban. This is very futuristic, and we need to, because it's not reversible. We cannot go to the caves if we are not stopping taking some measures. Next. The main mistakes that we do not have the immediate adaptation to climate change and overheating are focusing on anthropogenic effects that may accelerate climate change, and this misunderstanding the inevitable natural cause of climate change. The disinterest to energy savings and mainly to electricity, e.g. for transmission and electrifying of Mediterranean cities, twice as much energy is consumed in electricity generators. The limited support to extensive use and to development of renewable energy sources, combined with the tendency in the population and rulers to be disinterested to think planetary and act locally. Thank you for your attention, and to be honest, I mean, we have not taken in mind that the war in Ukraine probably creates some more global environmental effects, which not be able to measure it or to calculate for the time being. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. So, any questions from the audience? No? Okay, so I will ask you a question myself. So, given the holistic view on the issue of climate change, so what sort of feedback would you recommend so that we would know whether our actions are actually having some effect?
I think that there are 3 steps. One step is starting from local, from municipality, then from national, and then from global. It is a series that if we are not starting from the local environment to reduce the building, the air conditioning, to improve, to increase the involvement of renewable energy sources, and then go to the national and then to the global. This is, in my opinion, the only solution which be taken seriously in order to avoid further increase of the temperature till the end of 21st century.
Okay, thank you for that.